this special SME IPO Adda, and my company in focus today is Sahasra Electronics Solutions, which is coming out with an IPO. The IPO is opening on 26th, closes on September 30th. It's priced between 269 to 283 rupees per share. It's one of the largest IPOs in the SME segment, raising nearly 186 crores. Fresh issue of 172 crores and OFS of 14 crores. And joining me is Varun Manwani, who is the CEO and ED of the company. Varun, thank you very much for joining us on NDTV Profit. My first question was, you are raising 186 crores. Why are you coming to a SME platform and not to the main board?
Thank you very much, and good morning to all the viewers. So basically, this specific entity, Sahasra Electronic Solutions, until 2 to 3 years back was a proprietorship firm. And therefore, when we decided to get into the capital markets, as per the norms, to get on the main board, we need to have a 3-year balance sheet record. So that is the reason why we had to, by a technical requirement, we had to actually get onto the SME board.
So basically you're saying that by 2026 you will be eligible to migrate to the main board.
Well, all fingers crossed, and let's hope that things work in the right direction.
Okay, give us a sense of the history of your company, because I was reading the RHP, and at some point in time you were doing diesel retailing in the SEZ zone in Noida, and then you ventured into opened up your first facility in the SEZ for semiconductors and PCBs. So give me a sense of your history. How long is the history of your manufacturing? Because it comes across that you moved from diesel retailing to semiconductors.
That is interesting, but I'll give the right perspective on that. So our company name Sahasra, in Sanskrit it means millennium. We actually started our operations back in the year 2000. And instead of naming it Millennium Electronics, we called it Sahasra Electronics, which resounded better with the Indian context. So we have actually been in electronics manufacturing over the last 24 years. And this individual company, Sahasra Electronics Solutions Limited, was the name got changed in 2021. Prior to that, this particular entity was a company called Northern Petroleum Company. And we being based in the SEZ, we had acquired this from the previous owners in 2014. In the SEZ, you cannot really, invest in land or building. You have to invest in the organization. And so right at that point of time, we had decided to, open the second facility for electronics manufacturing. However, the SEZ administration, it was a dream for them to look at the diesel trading business. And therefore, we gave it a shot for a few years. It worked well for some time, but it's not our core business. And therefore, when the diesel prices touched $100 a barrel in the international markets, and the government subsidized the rates in India, we had to shut down that business. So in 2019, we started construction of this particular building in the SEZ. And in 2020, when COVID struck, at that point of time, we were able to commence our manufacturing and production operations. And then the very next year, we changed the name of the entity. And thereafter, we got into becoming a limited company because we had set our sights on going to the capital markets, considering being in electronics and the growth that was happening within India and overseas, and the challenges that the industry was seeing in the electronic space worldwide.
Mm-hmm. I understand that you have also received 2 PLIs. Take us through those PLIs as well.
So at Sahasra Electronic Solutions, we are a PLI beneficiary for the IT hardware industry. So this is the PLI 2.0. And we also have a subsidiary company by virtue of 51% shareholding in the company called Sahasra Semiconductors. At Sahasra Semiconductors, we have our PLI for white goods for supplying ICs, specifically LED driver ICs for the LED lighting industry. So it's a semiconductor device which will get consumed by the LED lamp manufacturers. Now, Sahasra Semiconductors was incorporated in 2020. Fortunately, unfortunately, before the big push came from the government, but because of the fact that we were the very first and early players into this business, we started our trial production in 2023, sometime in September. And later this year, around end November, we should get into mass and commercial production of our LED driver ICs and other semiconductor packages.
You're raising 172 crores in fresh issue. It's nearly 26% of the equity which you're raising. Take us through how you're going to use this 172 crores.
There are several objects that have been mentioned in the RHP. Out of that, 23 crores will get invested in the semiconductor facility. About 65 to 66 crores will get invested into the new plant that we are coming up in Bhiwadi, Rajasthan again, which is next door to the semiconductor plant. Some of it will be used for our debt pairing, and thereafter the balance will be used for other activities as well.
And I understand that nearly 80% of your revenues come from exports, and I think 78% of that is to the United States. Give me a profile of your clients. What kind of the products that you export to them from your SEZ unit?
Yeah. Yes. So our business is firstly, I'll start with the business is diversified. We have the portfolio is the EMS industry, which is the PCBAs. Which includes wire harnesses and box builds. Other than that, we are also in memory solutions. So we do SSDs, DDR, or which is also known as RAMs and modules. Then we also do USB drives and micro SD cards. And we are in IT hardware space as well. So we are manufacturing for OEMs, laptops, tablets, and servers. Now, yes, as you rightly said, 75 to 80% or even 85% of our revenue comes from exports. Our primary market is the US, but we also export to Europe, France, Germany, Italy, Belgium. And customer profile ranges across industry. So we have customers in the space of automotive, industrial electronics, railways, defense, medical, aerospace, and many others.
Can you name some of the customers who are allowed to?
Bound by NDAs in many cases, but I can take the names of a couple. We have Intelligent Observation, which is in the medical space. We have Avionica, which is in the aerospace space, and we have Paragon, which is in railways.
Interesting that you have 80% coming in from that, but I was looking at the RHP, and the way you operate is that you are selling most of your product to your group companies, and they are the ones who are selling it forward, which basically means that there's a huge related party transaction that will happen in between yourself when you get listed and the group companies, because they will be the one face to the clients. What is this relationship, and how are you going to manage this?
So there is there's an entity called Optima Technologies in the US. We sell most of the product via them, and that is primarily because it's a pass-through. So most of the American customers, they prefer to have local stocking, local support. So the office that we have there, there are white Americans there who run that operation. And as I said, it's a pass-through. It's really only for the last mile connectivity, for providing local support there. So it's not really that the related party transaction happens from that point of view. It's more of a pass-through, as I said, to provide the value add to the customers.
What is the kind of commissions or marketing margins that they get for that services?
It ranges between 4 to 7%, depending upon the specific project, the client, size of the business, etc.
Given that US is the biggest market for you, why haven't you put in your own foots on the ground, set up your own subsidiary who can manage this?
So there are two things. One is that this company Optima, we do have cross investment from one of the other entities. So there is to us and we're exclusive to them. And let's hope that in the future there could be many other interesting things that can happen.
Give me a sense of the kind of order book, because I saw your revenues jump from 10 crores to 101 crores. And that 10 crores is primarily because I think you started operation in Feb, March, or technically the public thing happened that around that time. But 100 crores is the kind of revenue which you have. What is the kind of growth that you see? And given that you have a PLI obligation coming in for which will be for 5 years, how do you see the revenue trajectory? Varun, can you give us a revenue trajectory for the, given that you have 2 PLIs and you have revenues linked to that?
Apologies, bound by a lot of compliances, so I may not be able to give you any projections at this time because we are within the silent period. But I tell you that we have customers across various categories. We are a PLI player. We are already supplying laptops, tablets, and IT hardware or other enterprise solutions to our customers. We work with a lot of medium to large
Varun?
So I think with the IPO coming up, it will be a very interesting period for us, and we will be able to look at matching whatever numbers we are looking for.
What is the total PLI incentive that you may be getting over this period? Can you give us that idea?
Yeah, the PLI incentive will range between 4 to 8%. It depends upon the level of indigenization and the kind of components that one uses in the product. So that is the overall range, and it will also depend over the period that the PLI is spread out. So over a 6-year period, this percentage will increase to some extent. Then it flattens out, and then there will be a decline.
Your business also requires a lot of working capital, given that you have a huge exposure to exports. I was looking at your inventory levels, and it's more than 90 days. Do you expect that to continue at that level?
Yeah, it's been within the 90 to 100-day period. In the last couple of years, because of the semiconductor shortages that happened, between 21 to 23, that definitely contributed to a lot of mismatches. But over the time to come, there will definitely be a lot of correction that we're looking at.
Varun, one of the biggest hits that many of the companies have got because of the supply chain issue and logistics. Do you see logistics easing up, the cost of logistics easing up?
Well, in the temporary situation, the logistics is in a bad shape. The costs have actually gone up, due to various threats that come up all the time. I think India is definitely looking to mitigate this challenge as a country, and a lot of investment is getting into ports and getting into containers and building of containers. So I think that will definitely help, and some of the alternate routes that the government of India is looking at in terms of shipping will also definitely help ease up these troubles.
If I look at your working capital requirement, which you have projected in your RHP, it's going to double in FY25, and again, it's going to go up by another 50% in FY26. That almost gives us a projection of the kind of revenue projection that also you are looking at. How do you manage your cash flows in such a situation?
Yeah, so I probably don't need to answer that because the RHP, talks about it. Yes, but the business needs with the growth will definitely require more funding, and I think it will all depend upon the contracts that we negotiate with our customers. and that will all depend upon how it will work with us for the working capital.
You mentioned that you're going to raise 85 crores for debt. Uh, will that be incremental debt that you're going to raise from here on? And will that also means that at some point in time you will again come back to the capital markets, may possibly on the main board to raise further funds?
Yes, there is some level of consolidation that we also need to do, which we will be doing within our group companies. And if the markets are kind to us and we do as per what has been planned, then you never know. Whatever the way things are going, we may come back.
Mm-hmm. A bit about your margins as well. 35% margins, EBITDA margins in FY24. Is that the nominal level of margins in this industry, or it's just starting up for you?
So our margins are let's say compared to peers slightly higher for sure, which is due to the customer profile that we have. We work with a lot of niche customers where we work with them very closely together on the engineering side, and the client base that we target are companies who are looking at base industrial space. So therefore that definitely alludes to better margins for us.
Mm-hmm. My final question to you is about your new subsidiary, in which you hold 54%, and I think you're going to invest in that company as well, around 23 odd crores. Do you look to consolidate your shareholding in that company going forward?
Yes, that will definitely be the plan. The semiconductor operation requires a lot of capital investment as well, and therefore the consolidation will help the subsidiary in the long term.
Mm-hmm. Varun, it was a pleasure talking to you today. Thank you very much for joining us on NDTV. That was Sahasra Electronic Solutions, is an SME on NSE Emerge platform. 26 September is the date when the IPO opens, and September 30th is when it's closed. 269 to 283 is the price band. The anchor book is already out. It has some good foreign names, and among domestic, I think HDFC Bank is also one of the investors in this company, and the company is raising 186 crores through this SME IPO. Thank you for joining us on NDTV Profit.